This conference will now be recorded.
Meeting of January 11th is now being recorded. There's no public hearing. Any old items of discussion? Hearing none. Any new items of discussion? I have some announcements later, but not really anything to discuss per se. Next is policy and procedure. We are, I think I may have mentioned last week that with Eric's departure, we sat down and spent a significant amount of time working on fiscal and HR policy and procedure, which was very helpful. Hope to have more of an update on that the next meeting. Projects, I think we're kind of hitting the reset button on 2021 projects. I'll be giving the State of the County speech here in a few weeks. We'll want to set that date here pretty soon, but kind of unveiling, so to speak, the projects we're going to be working on since, 2020, most of the projects we set out to got overtaken with CARES Act and COVID and such. Commissioners meeting review, or excuse me, are there any other project updates you guys wanted to offer?
So we've kind of enacted the broadband task force, and we have a call this week to discuss that.
Okay, the agenda for Wednesday. First of all, we'll be holding it virtually on GoToMeeting. On the agenda, we have the old business of the radio use agreement, which you may have seen this morning. Attorney Schmidt did send to us, so that should be ready to go. Tax rates for tax collectors. Do you have any thoughts on? I haven't done anything on that. I guess I'm somewhat interested in researching it a little more, but I don't even know where I want to start. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think the challenge is that we do it differently than everybody else. That's part of the issue. So trying to find perfectly comparable data, a little bit of a challenge. I may be wrong about that, but I just look at it like I look at it the way we looked at everything else, which is I think we had agreed on 1%, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So
Just to maybe, that way it gets to some resolution sooner rather than later.
Okay.
yeah,
Well then, Pam, I think you already marked up the 1% increase, so let's just get that back on the agenda. And then, can you give us, Pam, an update on the ISO agreement that's next on old business?
I sent 4 emails and contacts through and phone calls to 4 different companies. I had one company call me back. They were supposed to, by this morning, have a quote, and they weren't even sure that they could do it because their focus is mainly manufacturing. I have yet to hear from them, so I would assume they're not going to quote.
Okay, and the others didn't even respond?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, are we okay with moving forward to vote on Wednesday?
I think so.
Okay.
moving forward, what?
We had contacted now, I guess, 5.
Moving forward with what?
Oh, the proposal from Country Manor Management Consultants. I just wanted to make sure you guys wanted that on the agenda for Wednesday. Previously, you had suggested rightly that we should, even though it didn't hit the bid threshold, that we should essentially kind of go out to bid. And Pam's analysis is basically there isn't anyone else in the region that will respond. So we can have more full body discussion on that on Wednesday. New business wise, we've got the tax anticipation note, tax duplicate, reappointments to the conservation district, all very standard first meeting stuff. Anything else that needs to go on the agenda?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Anything from you, Pam?
Nope.
Okay.
All right. I'm obviously working schedule-wise. I'm working from home today. Tomorrow probably be a hybrid. Wednesday I intend to be in the entire day. Thursday as well. About it to note schedule-wise. Anything you want to raise? Any
No.
important meetings? Okay. General discussion? Any cause for executive session?
I guess the only thing that can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can now.
Yes.
I'm on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I'm on the
delayed.
Wi-Fi in the courthouse, so I should have called in separately. But anyway, I guess the one thing that I wanted to say is Dan and I are putting together a meeting with DEP and the ANF.
And we lost you, Jeff.
And our environmental consultant in order to finalize the closure. We're very close to having that completed. Really at this time, the only thing that we need to do is just to make sure that some of the stuff related to industrial development of the site and the mowing of the cap are like baked into whatever land transfer or lease or whatever is in place for the site for whatever period of time he wants it. And then once we have those things, then that would be then that we'll be able to close that site down completely. So I just want to let you know we're probably going to set that up for the end of January. If anybody wants to sit in on it or be a part of it, they're welcome to. We don't have a date yet, but my assumption is we'll do that by the end of January. And also it would be with the understanding that the environmental consultant will be doing like will be producing the final report on the site that basically justifies the closure.
For
I guess
minute
I'd like to-
purposes, who is caller 2?
Might be me, Pam. I'm in the conference room. It's Nathaniel Schmidt here.
Thank you.
Caller 2.
Jeff, for my part, I'd like to be invited to that meeting, but don't schedule it around my schedule.
I
Okay.
guess my question is, and this is like at the 11th hour, but I'm assuming that we're all supportive of going through and doing this transaction.
So this is the closure, which is different from the real estate transaction, right, Jeff? Or are they
Potentially. We may be able to get it with or without the transition of the property to the RDA. We think it's easier if the property is transferred to the RDA because basically the covenants would be written to the deed when it's transferred. But that's part of what we're trying to discuss is just to make sure that everybody's on the same page with that, just because there's been some, I mean, obviously with COVID and everything else that's gone on, this has come in and out of everybody's focus for 6 months now. So, if the property is transferred, if the ANF, basically we're trying to gauge how fast the ANF wants to transfer the property. If that's quick, or they're capable of doing it quickly, which we don't know for certain, then we'll do it along those timelines and then bake it into the deed transfer. If they're not, if it's going to take a long time for that to happen, then we would have a conversation about basically the permit that's written for the site be written with the covenants baked into that.
So, and
That's it.
So there are two items to discuss, and one is the closure of particular landfill, and then the second is transfer of the property.
Yeah. They're can be done parallel or potentially independently, but we're not 100% sure of that yet.
Okay, well, either way, we'll get that on the calendar.
I might just want to touch base maybe with you and Dan to bring myself up to speed.
Mm-hmm. I'll forward you again the report that the environmental consultant put together, which has it has most of the back information and then also just their evaluation of the site. And then that was what was used to get DEP in a position to move forward with the closure certification. And that's based on like 2 years of test data that we completed, and then also reviewing all of the back test data over the past 30 years of the site. So, and then the final report that they're putting together is basically that, just with a few items added to it. So that would be the best place to start as far as to get an understanding of like where the site's at, generally.
Okay, I appreciate that, Jeff.
All right, any cause for executive session, Nathaniel?
I don't have any today.
Any general updates from anybody else on this call?
Could we have a very brief executive session?
Freeze frame them at just the worst places.
It's funny I'm not having any trouble.
Are you back, Jeff?
I'm available.
Yeah, I figured since we're here on the line, like just to go over it for, it literally will take just 2 minutes, but I think I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on what's happening. Is that okay?
Well, we didn't hear what it is. What is the topic?
I was hoping we could just do just a couple of minutes real quick just to do an update on the Deerfield situation, just so that everybody is informed of the kind of legal situation there.
That would be good.
Okay. So you just want us to stay
I
on the
don't
line?
think it should take long at all. Yeah.
All right, then we'll adjourn to executive session for the purpose of talking about his formerly pending legal action. So, commissioners, or excuse me, if I could ask the public to jump off, I'd appreciate that. Anybody? All right.
Okay.
Pam and the